What kind of activities make up advocacy work? There are some activities that we can refer to when we talk about organizing. You build power at the base. It's an advocacy work. You educate government, provide information on issues to the government. You educate the public about the electoral process. It's an advocacy work. You introduce to communities and constituencies their legislators, who their legislators are, and what is expected of their legislators. And then when you do research and produce relevant resources that talks about the issues affecting a particular communities and what can be done to be able to initiate change. When you organize a rally to mobilize for a cause, that's an advocacy work. So when there are regulatory efforts, when you take action at agency levels to ensure that regulations, maybe regulations around water rates, light rates, tenement rates, all of these regulatory efforts, and you take actions at the agency levels, they are advocacy work. So what are the processes to this advocacy? We have public education, educate the community on the issues. Then we have non-partisan voter education. You have to be non-partisan, irrespective of your political affiliation, political likes. You have to be non-partisan. You inform the electorate on the issues that are involved in voter education. You also have to be non-partisan in your mobilization. When you encourage citizens to vote, you do not actually move the people to vote for a particular party. You are non-partisan, you are neutral. When you organize educational conferences, gather, you network, and you share information and plans for the future. And then you also engage in training, building capacities, or you could also go on a litigation. When you have tried to mobilize, you have embarked on a work, you have done trainings, you have engaged the relevant stakeholders, and all remedies on all avenues fail. And then you go to court. You could go to court. It's also an advocacy process. It's also an advocacy work. And then you win in court for your cause. So it becomes a precedent. It becomes a binding legislation, a binding precedent on the relevant stakeholders. Lobbying. When you advocate for or against specific issues or legislation to ensure you achieve social change. So what can advocacy do? What can you achieve when you advocate for an issue or a cause? You can achieve good governance. You can achieve change in policies or programs. You can achieve change in regulations, or you can achieve a regulation being put in place. You can also achieve institutional best practices, and many more can be achieved with advocacy. Community organizing and advocacy is a very important tool that is used to engage in and ensuring that we are able to achieve social change at the community level, at every levels, grassroots levels, state levels, and national levels. Community organizing and advocacy is not an action or a work or an activity that is reserved for professionals or selected few. It's for us as citizens. Once we believe in an action, once we see a cause for us to change or to engage on an issue that would lead to sustainable development and would achieve, and that would lead to policy changes and social changes. And so there is a need for us as citizens, as youth, as God vote champions, to at every levels, when we identify issues and a cause for concern, to advocate, to mobilize at community levels to be able to achieve social change at all times.